Mr. President, Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations to end the war.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. And I think it'll end it very, very substantially.
That moment right there, that's when everything started to fall apart. Live, on camera, with nowhere to hide.
So you said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a few
Many,
of those?
like 15 points. 15 points.
Iran has said yes.
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
They said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
Will we see arrests, illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
Arrests?
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at airports?
That's why the Democrats are going crazy. Because they've allowed, by what they did, and hold up, we put ICE, who are a very high level, I mean, they really are a high level group of people. And they love it because they're able to now arrest illegals as they come into the country.
Now pause for a second, because what you just saw isn't just a politician dodging a question. It's something deeper, something way more revealing. This is what happens when the narrative starts collapsing in real time. And today, it didn't just crack, it completely unraveled. Let's rewind a bit because this didn't start with that fact check. It started earlier, with a press gaggle that was already going off the rails.
I brilliantly have my people call him and offer him a job in security, essentially, in the White House. And what does he do? He goes out and he says that Iran is not a threat to get publicity. Now, he probably signed up with CNN, or maybe he signed up with your division of Newsmax, I don't know, but probably signed up with CNN or somebody. But if you look at his tweets, X's or Truth, whatever he uses, I don't know because I don't follow him. What he said is 100% he agrees with me. All of a sudden he leaves. I never knew he had a problem. Now I hear they're looking at him for leaking. That's possible. But just so you understand, just to put it to rest, he lost twice badly. He also lost his wife. He's remarried since. He lost his wife. I felt badly for him. So I told my people, reach out to him, give him a job at the White House. This is the thanks I get.
Even Fox News couldn't keep airing it. They literally had to cut away. Think about how rare that is. This is a network that has stood by Trump through everything, and even they hit the brakes. That's when you know something is off. Because what was happening wasn't just long-winded talking. It was confusion, contradictions, and a tone that kept escalating. And then things took a turn that nobody expected.
President, you've deployed ICE agents to American airports today. Newsmax, sir. You've deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a very good job.
You've deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go
What
ahead.
exactly do you want from
You
these
believe it? I'm
talks?
taking CNN over Newsmax.
What
You believe
exactly
it?
are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it, low-key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East.
That's not just frustration. That's Trump snapping at his own side. Newsmax, one of the most supportive outlets, getting shut down mid-question. And it didn't stop there. He circled back to it later, unprompted, still irritated. Which tells you something important. That question got under his skin. Now here's where everything really starts to connect, because multiple reporters weren't just asking questions, they were noticing inconsistencies, and they started pushing back.
If you obliterated their nuclear sites last summer with your strikes, then how can you argue it was an imminent threat now?
Oh, we hit them so hard, we obliterated them. But that doesn't mean with the right equipment, you can't dig down and go get it. We don't want that, and we won't have that. But we obliterated that site. They still haven't been able to get it. That was a complete success. But if it wasn't, they would have had, if we didn't hit them, if we didn't use the B-2 bombers, which are unbelievable. We just ordered 22 more of them, modern version, by the way, super modern version. If we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had within 2 weeks of that attack. That's why we hit them. Because
That right there, that's the kind of answer that creates more questions than it solves. Because obliterated doesn't usually come with a but. Either something is gone or it isn't. And when you start mixing those messages, people notice. Now layer that on top of everything else happening. Claims of ongoing negotiations, Iran publicly saying those talks never happened, and then a reporter steps in and says it directly, to his face, on camera. That's the moment we started with. And it's important because it changes the dynamic. This isn't just reporters asking questions anymore. This is reporters challenging the premise. And Trump's response? He doubles down. He doesn't clarify, he doesn't correct, he just insists. Now let's talk about why that matters. Because in politics, especially at this level, consistency is everything. If you say negotiations are happening and the other side says they aren't, someone is wrong. And when that contradiction plays out live, it creates a credibility gap. But it didn't stop there, because the questions kept coming. And instead of tightening the message, things got looser.
Mr. President, the Marines from California, given that it'll take them weeks to arrive, is the intention to police the strait or take cars?
what are you doing?
Well, it's been reported that there are Marines that left California, left San Diego last week, at the end of the week. Why are they headed there now?
Well, let me ask you this. If you were in my position and I asked you that question, do you really believe I'd give you that? It's a crazy question.
Now, to be fair, there are times when leaders avoid specifics for security reasons. That's normal. But there's a difference between strategic silence and visible frustration. And what we saw here wasn't controlled. It was reactive. And that pattern kept repeating. Question, deflection, irritation, repeat. Then came another moment that raised eyebrows.
They've agreed to that.
Will we see arrests, illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
Arrests?
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at airports?
That's why the Democrats are going crazy. Because they've allowed, by what they did, and hold up, we put ICE, who are a very high level, I mean, they really are a high level group of people. And they love it because they're able to now arrest illegals as they come into the country. That's very fertile territory. But that's not why they're there. They're really there to help.
That answer, if you listen closely, contradicts itself within seconds. They're there to arrest, but that's not why they're there. And when messaging gets tangled like that, it creates confusion, not just for reporters, but for the public. Now step back and look at the full picture. In a single press session, you have media outlets cutting away mid-speech, a friendly reporter getting shut down, multiple contradictory statements, a direct fact check happening live, and visible frustration building with each question. That's not just a bad press day, that's a breakdown in message control. And message control is everything. Because once that slips, every answer becomes a risk, every question becomes a test, and every contradiction gets amplified. What made this moment different was the pacing. Usually these kinds of exchanges are spaced out, handled over days, sometimes weeks. But this all happened in one stretch, back to back, with cameras rolling the entire time. And the longer it went on, the more pressure built. You could see it. Shorter answers, sharper tone, less patience. Now, here's where things get even more interesting, because when a politician starts reacting like this, it usually means one of two things. Either they're being pushed into territory they're not prepared for, or the narrative they're relying on isn't holding up under scrutiny. And today, it looked like both. Because every time a reporter asked for specifics, the answers got vaguer. Every time a contradiction was pointed out, the response got more defensive. And every time the pressure increased, the tone shifted further. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And patterns like this, they don't just disappear, they build. They carry over into the next press event, the next interview, the next headline. Which brings us to the bigger question. What happens next? Because moments like this, they don't exist in isolation. They shape perception. They influence coverage. They set the tone moving forward. And right now, the tone is clear. More scrutiny, more pushback, more direct challenges. Reporters saw what happened here. They saw that pushing harder gets reactions. They saw that inconsistencies can be exposed in real time, and that changes how the next round of questions will go. So the next time Trump steps in front of cameras, it won't be easier. It'll be tougher, sharper, more direct. And if the messaging doesn't tighten, if the contradictions continue, we could see more moments like this. More live fact checks, more confrontations, more visible frustration. Because once that door opens, it doesn't close easily. And that's why today matters. Not just because of what was said, but because of how it was said, how it was challenged, and how it played out in real time. This wasn't just another press Q&A. This was a shift, a moment where control slipped, and the cameras caught all of it. And if this is where things are now, you have to wonder, what happens when the pressure gets even higher? Because if today showed anything, it's that under the spotlight, with the right questions, things can unravel fast. And the next time it happens, it might be even harder to contain. And if you find this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell.